Hey guys, Mitko here from DN Models, and today we're unboxing Eduard's MiG-21PF, a ProfiPack from the Czech company, featuring one Vietnam warrior. This is a second generation MiG-21 famous for its weak armament and high agility. Nevertheless, with its specific shape, one of the most beautifully looking MiG-21s. In the kit we have abundance of paint options, various in appearance. Vietnamese, East German, Soviet and Polish air forces are included. Even though mostly second generation fishbeds were in natural metal finish, two camouflage options are included in this kit. Vietnamese version is the most important here, also depicted on the box, since it shows an ace aircraft with numerous victories on its nose. Being a ProfiPack edition, this Eduard kit shows additional parts. Besides the grey plastic sprues, we have masks for the canopy, which in this version is a single piece option, and a photo edge sheets, one of which is colored. Latter one is for the cockpit interior. Compared to the ProfiPack, Weekend Edition is similar in plastic, but not including photo edge parts, masks, and the decals are too limited. Instructions in ProfiPack are far better too. They are made from glossy paper, and the booklet itself looks rather luxurious. This is one very neat feature for Eduard Profi kits. They do offer one of the best looking instructions out there. The build is pretty straightforward, steps are not overcrowded with information or confusing in any way. There are some photo etch parts to be installed, as well as options for brass and resin sets from Eduard. But even if you decide to use those here, you'll be okay, since everything is made in a simplistic and easy understandable manner. There are only two pylons for second generation MiG-21s, which will limit the work on the weapons, but that is okay considering the fact that there are aftermarket engines, air brakes, cockpits and more for Eduard MiG-21 series. Color options are nicely presented, specific decals included for each of them. Being one of the most produced jet fighters ever, MiG-21 has to offer more than this, but Eduard offered plenty in my opinion. Always good job from the Czech company when it comes down to that. First sprue we are going to take a look at holds the fuel tanks, the weapons, and it is duplicated one. Although I believe that Eduard offers weapon resin set, this is done with enviable quality. The rockets are the most important thing here, since PF stands for Перехватчик фронтовой, which is generally set interceptor version. Despite that fact, there is more included in the set, but my personal advice is to skip it and make it like it is on the box art. Next sprue holds the vertical fin and its continuation, including the spine up to the cockpit. This is the most distinctive feature of the PF variant. It features narrower vertical fin, and the front part of the spine is bulkier, like on a later version, while the rear one is like on F-13, the first version of the fishbed. On the sprue we can find also smaller details, cockpit parts and others, everything with super detailing and wonderful texture, especially the small parts. Next are the wings, the horizontal stabilizer, the ailerons and the flaps. Consistency of the detailing, as with the previous sprues, riveting and recessed panel lines are all over. Even the hidden areas are made in a way that the possibility of resin usage is limited to a minimum, or at least to what Brassin from Eduard has to offer. Wheelbase, although hidden with MiG-21, are made with devotion, and despite them being relatively simple, Eduard made serious effort making them properly. Everything is thin, fine and up to scale with those parts here. Sprue with the nose cone, engine parts, wheel struts, nozzles and more is what comes next. Each part here is absolutely superb, most important one being the cone and the nozzle, but they weren't the only one who were treated properly. Even the tiniest details, and there are plenty of those, are executed according to Eduard's high standards. With that being said, I have to add that there are wonderful brassen engine and wheels for this kit, and they are even better. This is Eduard resin line. However, this here should do just fine for most of the modelers out there and will satisfy their basic needs. Next, sprue feature wheel wells, doors and minor parts, plus cockpit top parts. Cockpit is another detail that is available from Brassen series and one that I would recommend. Even though everything on this sprue is like with all the others, PF cockpit is very visible if the canopy is open, since it is a one-piece thing clearing up the view for the spectator. Here I would suggest the resin cockpit, which Eduard has, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Well worth the money and, most importantly, famous for an easy fit, not like some other resin brands where endless sanding and test fitting is required before final assembly. Two halves of the fuselage, details inside out, some belly details, everything that can complete the kit and seal it as one of the best on the 48 scale market. Important thing to mention here is that the plastic is one that gives you quite a pleasure while working with. Not only the rivets and the panel lines count for quality here. The material itself is very user-friendly and usually dark in color, maybe even unattractive at first sight, nevertheless, once you start with it, showing a superb quality. Now after the dark gray, let's have a look at the clear sprues. Transparency with those is good, although I found a bit odd the way that Eduard attaches it to the holding frame. Rivets are visible all over the frame, just like on the real aircraft. The amount of realism is very high. As I've said, single-piece canopy, one that opens toward the front and sits as you see it but in vertical position. On the sprue there are lights, the sight of the aircraft, and everything is made with good quality and satisfactory looks. Once painted and weathered, this will show its true qualities in terms of detailing. The fact that the masks are included in this kit is indispensable and completes the kit perfectly. Those that comes next are the differences between ProfiPack and the Weekend Edition. We have wonderful photo etch sheets, and we all know that Eduard are among the best in the business. Everything is thin and in proper color, and those that are not in color are done with superb detailing. There are some tiny parts, so you should pay extra attention while building using those. Some of them, like the wing fences, are optional too. Decals are standard for such kit, with cockpit decals included too, something that I believe few will use. They are made by Cartograph, second to none, and very wise choice from the Czech company, especially for a natural metal finish airplane. This is the sheet with the aircraft specific decals. There is another one. Technical markings are on it, and it is made in Czech Republic, but as far as I know, the quality is close to the one of Cartograph. Patience will be needed with those, since they are quite a few, especially for a Soviet-built plane. So, to wrap it up, MiG-21 from Eduard is the best MiG-21 in any scale. And the only letdown that I know of is that they still haven't made the F-13 and the twin-seater versions. The detail is fantastic, the fit is even better. With their MiG-21, Eduard competes with companies like AMK and Zoukei-Mura and their MiG-31 and F-4, the latter one being an inseparable part of a collection for every second generation MiG-21 fan just like this one. This kit is great. That is all I need to say. Thank you for watching, stay tuned for more. In the meantime, let's hope Eduard will release the dual-seater soon. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.